Welcome to the Edge Up podcast with your hosts Reed and Glenn from Hawaii Trading Academy. We're talking about habits and change, man. Share a little bit your thoughts on that. Like what comes to mind when we're on this
Well,
topic?
when we're talking about change, like immediately with trading, I think about how when we get into trading, I was in a routine and it wasn't the healthiest routine, but I didn't know it at the time. A lot what you hear a lot with traders coming in is like you need screen time. Without the reflection part, it's left out a lot. So what I did was I would have 23 pairs and just constantly cycle through these pairs over and over and over again for 8-hour days. And this is like when I was in college, I'm like after school, I'm just cycling and pressing the arrow, cycling and pressing to the arrow, trying to find trades, right? And so that was my routine. I'd get home from college and I just spend the rest of the night on the charts. And so was that productive? It was great screen time, but I wasn't really utilizing it. I wasn't taking advantage of it. And so that was a bad routine. Now looking back, right? Like sometimes you want that screen time, but I wasn't documenting my screen time. I wasn't journaling it. And I think that's like the biggest that was a hurdle for me. I should have seen that and reflecting. It's always easier in hindsight. And so if you're new out there and you're listening to this, like just if you have a similar routine that you could relate to, like I'm not really doing anything, I'm just looking for opportunities. Maybe that routine is not the healthiest routine. Maybe that's not the best routine for your trading career and your trading business. Because I mean, just imagine, Glenn, like you have a business, right? And your business isn't making money, but you come to the store every day and you don't talk to your customers. And that's your routine. You just come in, check, put the sign up, I'm open, and then you don't make any money from a customer. And a customer asks questions, and you're like, I don't know. And you're not willing to change. You're not willing to do anything. And I think that's the fear. You're comfortable, right? Routine is almost, I see it as comfort. Now, there's really healthy routines, but there's also like too comfortable. I'm too comfortable, but then now I'm gonna wonder why I'm not making money. Why is this business not making money? Well, maybe there's something that needs to change.
So let me
I
bring
think
you
that's
let me
yeah.
reel you back into
Okay, okay.
college read, right? You were going
Yeah.
in, cycling through your 23 pairs and whatnot. Was there a like one moment in time where you're like, okay, this routine I need to change? Was there something that you realized, that you learned, that you found out, that kind of shifted your trading?
Yes, but it wasn't immediate, man, because I constantly thought it's not me, it's my education. It's I don't know enough. I need to learn more. There's always something that I would look to for an answer rather than it sounds cliche, but I'm not looking within. I'm not looking at myself, my own actions. And so that took me a while, dude. It took me years to really analyze and reflect, oh wait, this is myself doing it. So how
Right.
about you, man? Like what is your um view on change and your view on routine? Because I think the greatest enemy of change is routine. It can be routine, could be bad routines.
I mean, we've talked about this, right? Humans are creatures of comfort,
Ooh, yeah.
and that's where a lot of our habits come from, right? We brush our teeth the same way, we shower the same way, people better be showering, we drive hopefully the same way. There's people who need to drive better, but the whole idea is just we're aiming to have something that's familiar, something that's almost predictable, something that's comfortable, and that's almost what the market isn't, right? It's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen, right? And so for me, like, learn just getting my jumping in to trading, um, getting, gut checked all the time by the market, getting taught lessons here and there, and it's expensive, right? Paid my tuition there. And like I knew, okay, I was in it for the long term, but something wasn't sticking when I was starting to trade. It was the approach I was trying to do, and it wasn't cohesive to my personality. It was a quick, day trading strategy and whatnot, but it took a while to get there. And then finally when I came across the right material, the right system, then it clicked. It clicked. And it was significant enough to me for me to realize, like, okay, I've been doing this one thing, this certain approach or system. It works for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me. Okay, so now what what can I do to change the course of, because if I was to continue that, I would go broke, right? 100%. So it was a moment to reflect and just zoom out and look at the journey I was on, and something needed to change. So, we'll go on to the next section of, like, right, our routines, right? What happens when we break our routines, right? We could break routines for the better, we could break routines for the bad, right? Right now, our trading routines are totally different from when we started, right? And so, Reed, you were just sharing like some things been happening in life and whatnot. So how do you handle the curveballs, man? How do you handle emotions, especially for trading, right? How does that?
Oh yeah. So this is kind of like I was just talking to you, Glenn, a little before this, and I think there's a little maturity in my trading because back in the day when life threw curveballs and maybe financial curveballs, especially in life, I would be like, I need to make money. What's on the charts? What's on the charts? And looking for that opportunity, constantly clicking, constantly cycling, trying to find another edge that would perform better than what I already had. And I had good working edges. It's just I was looking for more, 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 more. And that caused stresses to myself, reflected on my trading, reflected on losing more, reflected on blaming external stuff. Again, this is me not owning up to my decisions, not owning up to my own losses. And I think how I handled it then was throw money at the market and let's win or try to win versus me when I'm having to deal with new stuff that things come up that life happens now like the last few days I haven't traded and it's because I know I'm not mentally apt to perform my best. And I think, that takes a lot of time and it takes experience. It doesn't have to take a lot of time though, but it took me a while. And then I think on top of that, it just came down to me analyzing my patterns, my personal patterns, my life patterns, when I perform my best, when I perform my worst, and where's the like that middleman work, what can I do best? So but like I want to hear your side also, man. What would you recommend when like life throws curveballs, because emotions happen? I think I mean, to add to what I was saying is like i I used to trade off of emotions, and then that's where people are like, you hear that common saying, don't trade off emotion, don't trade with emotions. And it's so easy because I mean it's so hard. It's easy to say that, but it's hard to perform because we all experience emotions, and we may not know that we're acting upon that emotion. And again, to me, journaling was that savior. That was that guide that like, oh, I performed bad. Oh, what was happening that day? Oh, it was January 6th. This event happened. I was this and doing this. But I also had two losses that day. Maybe those losses reflected what was going on mentally. So I mean, yeah, like I would love for you to elaborate on your own and on how to handle that change in that routine.
You brought up a great point, the maturity in trading. That's gonna be a bonus for you guys. We're talking about habits and routines. Uh, yeah, brushing out the emotions, when I was trading, I wasn't a great, of course nobody likes losing, but some people take losing way better than other people. My initial reaction for loss is like, okay, now I need to go make that money back, almost like revenge trading. I need to, where's the next opportunity? I'm down. I need to catch up. Those are already thoughts that's setting me up for failure almost. And so what kind of helped, oh, of course it helped a lot, was journaling, taking notes for myself. It just really looking back at my performance, based on whatever notes I had, and ask myself, like, okay, I have to get right with my thoughts. A lot of these books we're reading, all these content, these videos, a lot of it, I start to realize it's psychology. It's us, it's our mindset, it's our mental. And that's one of the first things that needs to change. And that it helped me drastically, right? Without the right thoughts, you cannot develop the right plan. Without the right plan, you won't uh, develop the right actions to change, to break out of those bad habits. So one of the questions I asked myself was like, how do I change this path I'm gonna go on? I'm currently on, and I'm continuing day by day with my trading. If this lead me to my goal, my target, right? No. Okay, what's gonna need to change, right? If I'm going on the freeway, town bound on H1, it don't make sense for me to take the off ramp, to whatever, right? It just don't work, right? So how do I change? And what do you want in life? Is you kind of got to reset yourself. I wanted to have longer term success in the markets, right? I wasn't in for the get rich quick. So in order for me to answer that and get back in alignment with my goals and targets, something had to change today. And that started with the mind. So it's a lot of it's just replacing your emotional state with another substitute feeling for just getting back in the right mindset rather than beating yourself up for being wrong, beating yourself up for losing money, you know. And big part of that, the way I kind of started was on weekends after the trading week, Saturdays, I would hit my nearest Starbucks, change my environment, right? So that way I'm not at my desk, my home office desk. I could switch up into a new environment. So that's one, right? Because we love comfort. We love what's familiar. We love what's predictable. No, I went to the nearest coffee shop, brought my laptop, brought my journal. Necessities. Of course, you needed the caffeine. I changed my environment. And what did that do? Right? Subconsciously, that put me in a different state of mind rather than sitting back at my desk where I last night I suffered, or last in the morning I suffered that loss. Imagine you're sitting in that same seat. So you go back to it. What comes to mind? You kind of bring up that same energy, right? And so it's about change. You got to take these little steps to change your environment. To change a routine, you got to change your environment, um, and you got to figure out how to create an environment where it's conducive to change, right?
One, I love this quote by Einstein coming off of changing your environment. Is he's quoted to say, problems cannot be solved by the same mindset that created them. And so that really is like you gotta get out, you gotta change what has created that mindset. So if you thought of that thought or you've taken that action with, let's say, your own business, your own office, your own room, get out of that room, get out of that office, maybe take a walk, 50-minute walk, maybe like you said, relocate to somewhere new, and fully relocate gives you that new brainwaves of thinking.
Right, right. So what would be like one tip or a few tips that we could share with the audience? Read like how to we're in the slump. I need to get out of change. I need to go break a habit, bad habits.
Uh, well, I kind of like it's gonna be bouncing back here with routines and stuff. Because when those feelings come up, we have that to create new routines. I think first we need to let it express. We need to allow our emotions to completely let go. And now I don't mean, oh, let my emotions go wild on the charts. Let me just place all kinds of trades and I'm greeting and I'm
YOLO.
fearful. Yeah, YOLO, double down. I'm not talking that way. I'm talking speak out loud with how you're feeling currently and be like, okay, I'm frustrated. I really want to place a trade, but I can't. I got to keep my hands behind my back, keep my hands up on my head, whatever you got to do. Just don't take the action of placing the trade, but allow yourself to speak what you feel and experience it, because that sets the stage for transformation. And this is not groundbreaking. This is all me and Glenn didn't come up with this strategy. Like, this is psychologists who come up with this on how to really create change. Change has to hurt, right? And the way I changed, man, I lost enough money to realize, okay, something has to change. I can't just keep doing the same thing. And so I think another, as far as trading, really getting into the nitty gritty, the details, with my second point would be like, look for different points of view of your trading. Maybe you want to scalp, right? Maybe scalping is like something you really want to do. You want to get in and out of the market as fast and as quick as possible, but it's just not working. Maybe increase the time frame. So that's a solution. Go from maybe the 5 minute to even the hour or the 50 minute or 30 minute, and change your time frames. Maybe you're trying to swing trade and you're not performing your best there, but you could do good at day trading. You don't know unless you try, right? And I think that's one way to really implement change and create new routines, create new trading habits. How about you? Give us one, Glenn. Give us another
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's great. Going kind of jiving along with looking at different viewpoints. So say you're used to looking at a certain time frame on a chart, 5 minute, 15 minute, zoom all the way out, guys. Zoom out. Like if it was a bad trading week this week, zoom out. And if you have journaling from, last year and data of like how you perform documented, that will kind of help you go into perspective like, oh, I've had these rough weeks before, right? Look what happened after, right? Probably hit a personal best, blah, whatever, rode the trend, this and that. It really just zoom out, examine a bigger picture, especially if you're analyzing the chart. Say you're gonna go, to your nearest coffee shop and review some trades of the week. Um, it's a good start to like go at the higher time frames, bigger time frames, right? We always know it's like a rule of thumb, bigger time frames rule, right? But it it could be boring watching it like a weekly chart because ain't much happening, right? But if you zoom in all the way, then that's where that you're going to see all those fluctuations. But zoom out, start with a weekly, daily, go monthly. That'll kind of put you in perspective with what the market is doing, because that is the key, right? You go back to comparing this bad week to your 52 weeks of the year. Is this bad trade gonna screw me up? No one bad trade will screw up your whole journey, your trading journey. Just remember that. You
It
know,
shouldn't. It
it
shouldn't.
should it
Yeah.
should not.
It shouldn't
But
blow
there,
one bad
there
trade.
are
Shouldn't blow your account.
there are examples of traders who had big accounts. They would blow it. They'll take a break, however months or years, they come back and they're trading that size, if not bigger, you know? So it'll happen. It'll happen. You got to figure out where your commitment is at, you know? And we take it to the final point, right? Of just learning how to change these bad habits. Reed, what would be that last point?
uh, just the easiest, most immediate action you could take is take a break. Like, just get away from the charts. Like, don't even relocate. Glenn mentioned go to Starbucks, bring my computer, journal. You know what? Just take a complete 100% off. Take a walk, no phone, no trading, nothing trading related, not even books, just completely step away and be in the moment of the now. And
Mhm.
just, yeah, like don't think about trading for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, the longer the better. And then you'll find yourself drastically improve. I know I'll take walks during the in midday now just to get my mind refreshed and correct, because like it could take a toll when you're looking at the charts all day. And I think I want to like add to all of this, if you try to implement one of these things that we've mentioned, and it's frustrating you and it's irritating you and it's making more emotions come out of you, then you probably want to dive into that emotion. You want to, why is this bothering me? Why is it rubbing me so hard? Why don't I want to take a break? I don't need breaks. Or why do I have to look at higher time frames? I don't want to look at higher time. If you're really that head butted against these general ideas, that again, not Glenn and I didn't invent these ideas. This is out there, and this is ideas that work. Then I think that's your ego trying to prevent that wall of change, and that's the biggest barrier to change right there. I think is the ego loves that routine, and so it builds up this prideful wall. Like, no, I don't need to do that, or I don't want to do that. When you're like that, dive into that feeling. Like, wait, I don't want to do this, so that means I probably should be doing this, or maybe I should be doing this.
But
Just come
that
with an open mind.
it's that self-talk every time you wake up and the gym is calling.
It's
No,
like,
that work out.
yeah, do the hard thing, right? Do the thing that your mind immediately says, no, I don't want to do that. You're like, hold up, wait, this
Hold
may
up.
be a solution. This
Yeah,
may be fixing things. This may make me better.
that's it.
You never
That's
know till you try.
You never know, right? And so we want to gift you guys for listening to this episode, this actionable step that you can implement today. Okay, try it. Like we strongly recommend it. We've been doing this particular task every day during our Trade 60 challenge with our members. And we are seeing some awesome wins, guys. Right. And it's as simple. This isn't groundbreaking, but it's the fact of being consistent, doing this one task, and sharing it with like-minded people or your corner, or if you have a little community yourself of traders that you just bounce ideas off. Like this is it. Will be a good pivot point, because for one, you're looking at your trades. You're opening your mind to feedback in a way, you know, because a lot of these things, here's another nugget, write this down. Like one of our biggest challenges on why we have these mental roadblocks is because simply we don't see them. It's in our blind spot. When we're doing this challenge and we're sharing these our trades, our previous trades through our trading templates, um, it opens up that conversation for constructive, because everyone has that. They know what it is to be a trader. You cannot post fake stats. People, you'll be found out. You can't be winning every day. You can't be, just suffering zero losses or whatever, like break even every day or whatever, 1%. Like this is what it happened. This is in the trenches. This is what's happening. So let's go over that trading template, right? It's a simple thing, right, for everyone to do. If you want to jump on, Reed.
Yeah. So again, this is basically your journaling your trades. And if you're not doing something along these lines, like I promise you, from my experience, from Glenn's personal experience, from people we know, this minor thing of journaling will help improve your results. So first thing you want to do is screenshot that trade. At bare minimum, screenshot the trade so you know, oh, on January 27th, this is when I took pound yen long. Okay, boom, done. Then you want to say and keep going with it. When was your entry? At what level was it entry? And what was the trade setup according to your edge? You got to come up with your name. So in a lot of the books that we read, the Trading Coach 101 by Brett Steenberger, he talks about you need to grade your setups. Like what kind of setup or name your setups. What is it? And then you grade your setups based on that number one setup. What is the probability of it working out? And you want to grade it. Could grade it 1, 2, 3, 4, or lettering like how Glenn and we grade our trades A, B, C, D. It's just dependent on your edge. And the way that we use our grading system is, and of course, in back testing data to back it up, or you just need to have your own immediate journal to look at the stats. But basically, the higher the grade, the higher the probability of your trade working out. So maybe it's just like you go off of a bearish engulfing candle, and maybe this bearish engulfing candle is a little smaller, but it's still an engulfing candle. Maybe my probability, instead of a setup, it's a B setup. So that's how you would grade it. You just start ticking. The more ticks, the lower the grade. The less ticks, the higher the grade. It's simple math, and just know you got to know your own probability of your system. Next thing you want to list is the exit price. Exit price and how it exited. Did it go through your system or did you manually close it? If you manually closed it, why did you manually close it at this level? And that's going to go in your exit section. And you just want to be as detailed and as elaborate as you can. You want to capture that immediate thought, the immediate emotions of that you're feeling. And then result. What was the result of the trade? Was it a loss, win, break even? And then finally, this is that post analysis. And this post analysis is where kind of like I kind of mentioned, like with the exit, you kind of want to state why and how you exited. But with the post analysis, you want to deep dive in one, what was the hour looking like, and not in the charts, but your mind, like before the setup. When I saw the setup, where was I mentally? Post analysis, like where was I after? Like just deep dive into one, your psyche, and then deep dive into the market. Maybe now there was a new signal and you're like, oh shoot, I could have maybe reduced risk because the market did this. Maybe I could go forward with when I see this setup again in the future, then I could adjust. So that's what you really want to do with your post analysis. You want to go back to your trade and see what went wrong, what went right, and where the improvements are.
Right. And going back to grading your trade, you could break it down into two things. You could grade it based on your setup, A, B, or C, D, um, based on the back testing data and what your edge is. Or two, you can add another dynamic of how the performance of executing the trade, right? You got the entry signal, here's a price. Where did your actual execution happen? Was it at your entry price, or where you got the signal to get in, or was it after? Was it further away? How did you do when you were in the trade? How did you manage it? Did you um, bring your trailing stop too close to what the price was, so you just squeezed out the trade rather than letting it run, giving the market enough room to breathe, right? How did you do that? And on the exit, did you do it according to your plan? You should know before you get into the trade where you're going to enter, where you're going to exit. Before you even press that button, right? You got to know. So you got to go. Those are some simple questions. And then overall, how did you perform? Like, okay, to the T, A plus, boom. Oh, you know what? Like I got in solid, right? My risk management and trade management was great, but I wimped out at the end because I saw such great paper profits. I just wussed out, just closed it. You got to take that into consideration. That might be a C execution grade right there, right? Because the entry is as important as the exit. So those are little things you can do during this trade review. And going back, right? This is all you're capturing data, not just from the market, but in your mind too. Where your mental capital is at, how are you feeling? Are you taking it seriously? Right? Because these are what the greats are doing. The market wizards, the guys who've been doing it for decades, they take this seriously. So as we wind down this conversation of the greatest enemy of change are your habits, we just shared some awesome tips and one actionable step where you could do today, right? After listening to this episode, do that one trade review. We just showed you, breeze through a simple thing, and the whole purpose of it, like you could do it today, but we really want you to be consistent at it. So if you're that trader looking to become better, but you can't really put your finger on it, it may be you, right? These habits you created, we are blinded to a lot of them. So you got to take a good look in that mirror because change starts with you. If you know someone who would love this episode, please share it with them. We are on all the major streaming channels. But click and subscribe, guys. Thank you for listening. Whether you're looking to improve your trading mindset and growth, we'll provide you with the tools, tips, and inspiration you need to make your next breakthrough. So tune in and let's edge up together.